What's up, guys? So, for all those who are planning on visiting Spiti Valley in the month of August and are confused if it's a good time to be going there and are worried about the safety factor with the recent flash floods that have been plaguing Himachal, most probably you're wondering whether you should be going to Spiti Valley in August or you should cancel your trip. This video should solve most of your queries and doubts, but that entire decision ultimately depends on you whether you want to go ahead with your trip or you want to postpone the trip. So now when it comes to Spiti Valley in August, you have to understand one thing, that it is monsoon in Himachal. Spiti Valley used to never have any rain, and even if it did have rain, it used to be very limited. But for the last few years, I would say for the last 3 to 4 years, it has started flooding in Spiti Valley and raining very heavily. Now this is purely because of external factors, with number one being global warming is real and it's affecting every part of Himachal Pradesh. That's where it is being felt the most because of the Himalayas. So by default, a place which was never having any rain is now starting to flood. If you look at the recent news, what has happened, there's been both the roads leading to Spiti Valley from Manali and from Kinnaur were shut because of flash floods which happened. And at the same time, it was raining very, very heavily in Spiti Valley, and the Indian Army and the local police had to, in fact, rescue tourists from Spiti Valley. So now this video isn't to scare you or to put you off from Spiti Valley. It's just a grim reminder of the reality, and I'm doing my best to tell you the worst case scenario that can happen in Spiti Valley, because being prepared for the worst case is the best way to travel and to live life, at least in the Himalayas, when you're traveling with this kind of uncertainty when it comes to the weather. The best case scenario is that everything goes well, the sun is out, there is no rain, and you get in and out, which is also a possibility in the month of August. But looking at the weather, at what it has been so far with the monsoons coming early, there's always a 70-30 chance, 70% chance of rainfall and 30% chance of the weather being good and clear. Now, what are the pros of visiting Spiti Valley in the month of August? Number one is that it's technically supposed to be summer in Spiti Valley, so it's going to be much warmer. It's going to be a lot more greener as compared to any other month. So by default, all those who have breathing issues and altitude related issues should not face much of a problem when traveling to Spiti Valley in the month of August, purely because the more greenery means more oxygen, so breathing will become a tad bit much easier as compared to other months when it is barren brown mountains. Now at the same time, you have to also understand one thing, is that when I'm saying there's going to be greenery, you cannot expect there to be a lot of trees, because that's not going to happen overnight. It's basically the shrubs which have grown on the mountain. So it's just going to be like scanty grass all over. Not grass, but basically shrubs which form on the hills and on the mountains in Spiti Valley. But that's enough to give it a boost of in oxygen, because compared to having nothing, there's at least something. When you are coming in from Manali or Kaza, the road is covered with greenery on either side. That's the beauty of coming to Spiti Valley in the month of August. Both the roads are technically supposed to be open coming via Manali and from the Shimla Kinnaur route. So if you're planning on coming to Spiti Valley during the 15th August long weekend, remember that it's going to be super crowded in Spiti Valley regardless of what the weather is. People will come. So by default, plan your holiday accordingly so that you're not in places like Tabo or Kaza during those that long weekend, because if you're there, it's going to be like super costly, and at the same time, even the hotels and the restaurants are going to be very busy with the long weekend. Now, another very big pro of traveling to Spiti Valley in the month of August is that everything is accessible, from Chandratal to Pin Valley National Park, the village of Demul, you name it, everything is accessible because snow has melted. So within Spiti Valley, you'll find everything bustling. Even in Kaza and in Tabo, all the restaurants and cafes are open. But now, what are the challenges that you will face? The risk, number one, is the risk of monsoon. So even though, like I mentioned, Spiti Valley is a cold desert and it's not supposed to be raining, it will receive some kind of rainfall. And at the same time, because of the heavy rains, the river tends to swell up and sometimes it even overflows onto the road, causing real havoc. So now if this thing happens, the best option for you is to stay put where you are. The biggest disadvantage is that the roads get cut off, and once the roads get cut off, it becomes really difficult for you to move out. Between the Manali Kaza road and the road from Kinnaur and Shimla, I would say the Shimla Kinnaur road is a much safer road to take in case of a weather disaster. But the reason is because even though rocks fall on the Kinnaur Shimla road, there's at least network all along the road. But when you're coming from, I would say, Losar till Koksar along the Manali Kaza road, there is no network in that road. So if your vehicle gets stranded or there's a flash flood, there's always a chance that something will go really wrong, and it will take very long for help to arrive till they actually end up spotting you. Now, the reason I'm saying this is for all those who are planning on self-driving to Spiti Valley in the month of August. It's a very risky time to be going self-driving to Spiti Valley in August. If you're planning on taking a bike trip to Spiti Valley in August, do not do it. Go in the month of, I would say, September or October, when the weather is more stable and more conducive. August, it's really a mixed bag. If it rains heavily, it's going to be a flood. If it is sunshine, it's a very good time, but you cannot really gamble with your life. Roadblocks can happen at both places. So the worst case scenario is that you will end up getting stuck in Spiti Valley for a day or two, or maybe few days in Spiti Valley. The best way to understand and come to know what is happening is to follow the Himachal police website, that is a Lahore and Spiti police website, not website, their Facebook page, and even the Kulu police Facebook page, because that's always updated and they keep putting up updates with photographs and sometimes videos. But they are very prompt with Facebook, so that's the best way to stay updated. Rather than asking your friends to check the news and update you, the most reliable way is to just follow and subscribe to the pages on Facebook. It's the Lahore Police Facebook page and the Kulu Police Facebook page. Both these are more than enough for you to stay updated and understand what's happening in and along the road to Spiti Valley. Now, another key element that you got to keep in mind is that the network. Even though Spiti Valley over the years has had very good 4G and 5G networks in the last 3 to 4 years, you have to also understand one thing, is that when such kinds of disasters happen, the network tends to go off. So no matter what kind of a phone or what kind of a network connectivity you have, you can expect a downtime. Jio and Airtel and BSNL are supposed to be three best networks. I personally have tested out all three, and Jio and Airtel have been the two with the better data connectivity compared to the other one, that's BSNL. Both Jio and Airtel have shown 4G and 5G network in Spiti Valley, but when there is a bad weather day, the network when you need it the most, it goes off. So you cannot really rely on the network, but definitely if you keep checking Lahore and Spiti Police Facebook page, or you ask somebody to check it, they will give you updates and you can stay updated. Now, when it comes to the safety tips along the way, it's always easier to carry all the essentials that you need. And when I'm talking about essentials, I'm talking about carrying a list of things that will come handy in case of a worst case scenario, that is energy bars and packed food, which can be used and opened only in case of an emergency, because there's a possibility. Along with this, make sure that you're carrying power banks, because that's the only way to charge your gadgets and stay connected. Another very important thing to carry in the month of August is dry clothing, so that even if you end up getting wet, you can always change your clothing and be dry again. Make sure that you have waterproof shoes so that your shoes do not get wet, because your feet are a very important insulator to your entire body on this journey. The final verdict for Spiti Valley in August, I would say, is that it's a gamble as of 2025. The weather is the biggest X factor, and no one can predict the weather. Nobody can predict and decide what is going to happen, because the weather in the Himalayas can be good in the morning and can change in a matter of 30 to 40 seconds. That's how the weather changes. It changes very rapidly. So bright sunny day can turn into an overcast cloudy and a stormy day, and a stormy morning can turn into a bright day, depending entirely on the weather god. So it's something beyond human understanding. So my personal suggestion is that if you are really paranoid about the weather and do not want to live life on the other side of the fence, then do not go in August. Go in the month of September, October. If you are okay with all the weather hazards and the challenges that come along with it in the month of August, then go ahead. So now, till our next video for Spiti Valley, stay safe, stay happy, and stay blessed.